Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in for our Manchester City preview. It's going to be a massive game for Jurgen Klopp's side, and I'm joined by three guests, three special guests. I will introduce them in a little second. But if you're new around here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button down below. Put your bell notification on as well, so you always do get notified. And let us know. Get involved in tonight's live stream, Red. So we'll be reading through every single one of your comments. Your starting 11, and who do you think should start? Obviously, Sadio Mane, potentially Alisson back as well. Fabinho, another potential incoming into the Liverpool side anyway. But let's introduce the lads. We've got made up to get all three of them on anyway. Not that one. There we go, the grid view. But I've got Luke from the 1892 Reds podcast. I've got Doug from the Dugout Football Channel and Connor from the Cop Council. Thank you very much for taking the time out, lads. I know you're very, very busy doing all your content. Well, make sure you do head over to all the lads' channels, subscribe there as well, and just let us know, get involved with all they've got all Liverpool, Manchester City preview shows up anyway, so just get involved with all the content. It's an absolute pleasure. But Luke, we get straight into it, mate. It's going to be a massive game for Liverpool, and probably Man City fans, if there's any watching, let us know. It's probably the best time for they will feel to play Liverpool, isn't it?
Well, first of all, Jack, thanks for letting me come back on the channel. Absolute pleasure to be on. Connor, Douglas, hope you're all doing well, mate. I think for Man City, it's definitely 100% the best time that they're going to be coming against Liverpool. I mean, I'd rather play away from home every week at the moment, considering our home form. It's just a really, really bad patch for Liverpool. Just can't seem to get that ball in the back of the net at home. But yeah, I mean, Manchester City flying high, what they won the last 8-9 games. The confidence that they're showing, even without the likes of Aguero in the side, De Bruyne are still, fully up for like every game and winning games very comfortably. So, it's going to be a really, really tough game for Liverpool. But we all know with Liverpool against the big teams, they like to step up. So, obviously, let's see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, spot on there, mate. And Dave from Dave LFC Chats. And now
is in the house. The Warrior is back. The Warrior, baby.
Right, spot on, Dave. I'm just going to preview with Dave on his channel, so head over there. I made up to get all of these together. It's probably the first time I've got quite a couple of these on, but absolutely spot on there, Luke. And Connor, we'll go straight to you, mate. Are you excited for this game? I say it. Are you excited? I don't think there's we've all got to be positive, Reds anyway, and we. But Connor, your thoughts on the upcoming fixture? And do you reckon Mane, Alisson, and Fabinho will be fit?
Can we really get excited for the games for Liverpool at the minute? It's so depressing at the minute. But no, look, we have to go into this game thinking big things. Of course, it is against Man City, probably the favourites towards the title. Now, if we can put a dent in that armour, then, I'd happily love to do it. And in terms of Alisson, Fabinho, and that I fully expect them to be back into the team. I know Jurgen spoke today about, everyone should be back, that could be back. Of course, Ali, we're lucky that it's not COVID or it's not, anything worse than that. It was just a slight little illness. And, Fabinho, I think he's going to walk straight back into the team, play centre-back, which will allow Jordan Henderson to go back into midfield, hopefully. And I'm hoping that one of the new signings will be at centre-back. I don't care which one it is, just hope that it's one or the other. But, yeah, I think Kabak will probably...
Kabak could be back.
he'll make one way or another into the team. But yeah, it is a huge game, and if we can win it, that will hopefully set things right after the last couple of games anyway.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there, Dave. Straight to you as well. I've just done a preview with Dave on his channel. Head over there, subscribe as well. I was speaking before, Dave, and it's. As Connor said then, it's hard to be excited, but you've got to be positive. What are your thoughts going into this game? Do you think Jurgen will attack this the way in which we tend to always play so well against the big teams? And Pep Guardiola's not going to come to Anfield and play a lot of low block defence, is he? So it's going to be an exciting fixture then.
Listen, I'm always excited when Liverpool are playing. Doesn't matter if they're playing Tiddlywinks, Monopoly, anything. I'd be excited Liverpool are playing. Especially against the Big Six. I mean, City, are right. I know United are our biggest rivals. Let's be real about it. Since I was a kid, back in I'm giving me age away, 70s and 80s, United were always the rivals. It's probably only got worse, and City are just our rivals now because since the Champions League thing the last few years. And the last 2 or 3 years in the league. But it'd be a big game. We turn up against the top 6, top 8 teams anyway. So I'm not worried about us turning up. I think we'll give City a game no matter what. We will give them a game. As the good news is Fabinho, Alisson and Mane look like they're ready to rock and roll and probably start, which, is great. A third of the team comes back and makes us stronger, of course. I would have liked Jota there, to be honest. It would have been even really, really nice, but that's not going to happen. Can we see Kabak being back at the back? I don't know. I doubt it. Will he throw him in? I know we got international clearance today, but it's a big game to throw a 20-year-old in, isn't it? He's a big lad now. I'd have no problems with him playing, but I just think Klopp, to throw him in and he makes a mistake, or confidence-wise, just coming in and a big game like that, make a mistake, you're in trouble for probably the rest of the season. So I think Fabinho will be at the back with probably Phillips. We talked about this earlier, Jack. Phillips hasn't put a foot wrong, to be fair with him. And maybe freeze Hendo up for the midfield with Gini and Thiago. And the front three. I have no problems. I'm confident the weekend. I did a video. I've been all over the shop today. Your good mate, Doug, and now my new mate, Dominic, Rich. I was on with him earlier on. As I said to him, I think Liverpool will give you boys a game. We will give you a game. We love playing. We love playing City. We have a good record against them. I don't want to keep ranting on here, but I'm confident enough, and I love watching the Reds. I love it, baby.
Spot on there, boys. As always, 13 games. City are unbeaten. Yeah, it's staggering. It's what happens when you can throw a load of money at your manager. 3-1, 1982 podcasts. Yeah, 3-1. Luke. We'll ask.
That weren't me, by the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's. I'll ask Luke's prediction anyway, and the lads' score predictions anyway. Come the back end of the show, mate. But Mark, how's everyone doing? Not too bad, mate. Hopefully, every single one of you is watching. I really do appreciate every single one of you, and appreciate the lads jumping on tonight. Won't be too long, but absolutely can't wait. But yeah, not too bad. Mark, thank you very much for asking. All right, boys. So many legends, John, that is. Hey, absolutely big. That's why I love doing my YouTube, mate. I've had the pleasure of meeting Dave, Doug, Luke, Connor, and it's obviously just probably wish we could have met them in the pub, but I think the current climate in which we live in, it's great that each of us and every single one is, and everyone watching at home, we've got the opportunity and the platform really to communicate and we love, and the love and passion of Liverpool Football Club. It unites people around the world. It's amazing the power of the internet anyway. Connects continents really. But spot on there, John. Just saying hello to each other. He's obviously Mitchell. He's embarrassing us in the press, always making the Sadek's excuse. Nice one, Mitchell. Obviously, lead that into what Mitchell's had to say there, Doug. Everyone's watched the press conference today. I was very disappointed with Jurgen's comments, I think, but he's a manager of a football club. Like, he's got to back his players, and whatever he says, we've seen Fergie, Pep, all the great managers, Arsene Wenger in his time, and Jose Mourinho, the big characters. You've got to come out and say something. But your thoughts on what Mitchell said there, mate, and obviously your comments, Doug, on obviously the big game.
I'm getting fed up of his moaning, honestly. Just the fact is, we get injuries, part and parcel of football. Injuries are part and parcel of football. We're coming up against probably the most informed team of the country right now, Manchester City, who, let's be honest, have conceded 13 goals this season. Their defence is as solid as a Brighton rock. Yeah, taking a leaf out of Dave's book there. But no, I think this is their best chance to play us, in all honesty. I think this is their best chance to win at Anfield. They haven't won, I think, since May 2003. I think that was the last time they won. So, yeah, I think I think all the sort of the hints are probably for a City win at the weekend, but their record at Anfield is not the best, and Pep's record at Anfield is not the greatest either. So, but I'm going back to what Klopp was saying. Just like don't give Pep the excuse to come back out and just retaliate. But yeah, there's a wee bit of mind games there for sure.
Yeah, spot on. I think, he's got to say the stuff, Annie Yeg, and I was like, I knew soon as he said it, mate. When I was watching it, I could already hear Twitter fuming, and I knew exactly what was going to come out, and it actually happened anyway. Obviously, JNOs and all that, they tend to try and extract stuff from certain managers anyway. That's their job. They need to write headlines, and headlines they got as soon as he opened his mouth. But yeah, Luke, I think we'll discuss now. Everyone, make sure you do get your comments in. Starting 11, obviously, we can discuss Reds. Obviously, in an ideal world, you've got Alisson back, Fabinho coming back. Do you think everyone at home watching and lads in the show tonight, do you think it will be a case of, obviously, Connor's mentioned Kabak, could he potentially start? Or would you bring in a Curtis Jones really to freshen up that midfield, give us a bit of legs? We've seen how important Manchester City's midfield has been. Luke, we'll get straight to you, mate. Gundogan, he's been a massive part, obviously played under Jurgen Klopp at Borussia Dortmund. And this season, I think he's added goals to his game. There's no doubt in this lad's quality. But I think if Liverpool are to try and get a result, yes, we've got to play our game, but we've got to keep this German maestro at bay, really, and just damper what he's been doing over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the likes of Sterling, and you've played Kevin De Bruyne when he wasn't injured anyway in a false nine. Gabriel Jesus has come back now. Luke, what would you do if you were Jurgen Klopp? Really, would you try and isolate Gundogan and obviously, in an ideal world, as we mentioned, bring in Fabinho and possibly shift Henderson into that midfield? What would you do? What would you think of Luke?
Yeah, I think Henderson needs to go into that centre midfield role. As much as he's done a great job at centre back for us in the problems that we've got defensively. I mean, we've said it many times before. With the problems we've got defensively, our midfield has been ripped apart, and it's missing the likes of Fabinho and Henderson in them roles. And if they don't play in them positions, you're going to get the likes of Gundogan, who, for me, I think under Man City, it's definitely, for me, his best season at the club, especially with De Bruyne being injured. We've had in the past where De Bruyne has been out and Man City have struggled to have an extra midfield option to, create passes, create sort of final decisions to score goals. And Gundogan's definitely stepped up to the plate since De Bruyne has been out. And even with the likes of Phil Foden alongside him, who's been superb. So let's not forget about him. I think he's probably Man City's top goal scorer this season without Aguero, and Jesus hasn't really been firing. So apart from Gundogan, I think the likes of Foden, Sterling's looking good. I just don't want him Bernardo Silva as well. I mean, they've just got so much talent, Man City. I mean, I think me and Ricky discussed before about I think the only problem that we've got a great starting 11, but then when you look at our bench, it's like, compare it to Man City. I know they've got financial backing, but it is something we desperately need to improve on for the next season. And yeah, I mean, how we stop him? I mean, as I mentioned, Henderson coming back into that midfield is so pivotal for us. Gives that bit more energy in midfield. I mean, it allows players like Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold to come forward because he'll always track back. He'll always break up play. He can always play in a box-to-box role, more like that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a must. Henderson has to start in that midfield role against Man City. I'm guessing Fabinho will definitely be back at there, but whether Kabak comes in, first game in for him at centre back. But at the moment, what choice have we got?
Baptism of fire, that loud.
I mean, yeah, it's just, I don't know what problem. Like, I think at the moment, the position we're in the league, I think, why not? Like, we need to take gambles now. We need to take a risk. If Jurgen Klopp still feels we're in this title race, which, in my opinion, we're not, why not just take the risk? Like, put him in there and hope. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there, as always. Connor, it's Luke's mentioned there a lot of risks, and I'd agree with Luke as always. It's just I'd throw in Curtis, because I think off the back of watching the display against Brighton, there was not many players there that when you were, yes, City will be open and Liverpool will utilise that pacing behind. And I think that's something that Jurgen Klopp, with his comments saying Liverpool not as looking as fresh, could that be a psychological nod to Pep Guardiola to go, right, Jurgen said they've got no legs, and he's probably watched them and went, yeah, they haven't looked as excited and fast paced in the gegenpressing style, really. Connor, would you tinker with a couple of, would you take risks, as Luke has just said there?
Yeah, I think you have to, really. I think, like Luke said, we're not in a title race anymore, sadly. I think, well, like I said earlier, I think City are the favourites now, and if we compare a dent in the title challenge, then that will be the best thing possible. I think, though, going back to like Jurgen's comments, even after Brighton, saying that we were mentally fatigued, and the team just isn't the same as it was this time last year, which I don't know whether or not it's because of all the restrictions and not having any fans and just this and that and all the injuries. It's all, I think, a mixture of everything. I think Jurgen would, of course, he'd love his whole squad to use for, even if we just had the likes of Van Dijk and Gomez out injured. I think Klopp wouldn't have minded that, but the likes of Ox being out for so long and not coming back to it, Jota longer than expected to be out, and other things like this. And I think it's just we've had to adjust so much over the last couple of weeks that I think now it's taken its toll fully, and we've seen that now. And what I didn't like with the Brighton game so much was the fact that we moved Thiago back to the 6th role, which Thiago, of course, we know Henderson likes to tempo the game when he's at number 6. Gini Wijnaldum against both West Ham and Tottenham, completely dealt the pace fantastically in both games. And I don't know why we referred back to that, because every single time Thiago's played in the 6th role, we've just been playing the same old football, trying to get the balls in high against teams like Burnley and Brighton, where, come on, they have probably the best defenders to just whack a header to it, which, of course, you can do it probably against Man City, because, yes, they have good defenders that can head the ball, but, you can probably get in between the lines with them. But for this game, I think we do have to take a risk. I think, like I said to you earlier, I think Kabak, will play. And Klopp will take that risk. Yes, it's a huge risk, because if it doesn't work out, then it'll affect his confidence even more. But imagine if he has a man of the match type performance against Man City. Imagine how much that can elevate his game up to the next level. And Henderson, I think, is, like Luke said, is vital to being in that midfield. He has to play in midfield. I don't think that's even a questionable position. Does Curtis Jones play? I think that's another question for Jurgen. Would he maybe start with Hendo, Gini, and Curtis Jones, and maybe leave out Thiago? Maybe. I think that would be a huge call. But even if, I just want to see Curtis Jones in this game, even if he has to come off the bench, I just want to at least see him come on, make an impact, and just show what he did against West Ham. Really.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there, boys. Dave, obviously the official Y1B. Do you think if you don't beat City, the title is officially over? I think we've more or less covered that, mate. Dave, would you be with Connor and Luke? I'd love to see Curtis play this game. Considering if I was him, I'd be absolutely fuming. Obviously, coming off the bench, the impact in which he had against West Ham, you're like, come on, I've at least done something. He absolutely flipped the West Ham game on its head. Because West Ham, yes, we got the instant goal off the back of him.
Yeah, listen, I tweeted for the Brighton game, Curtis should have been on half time. I mean, he was brought on too late. The game was over. The confidence was gone. What about playing Curtis in the Bobby role? I mean, you could play Curtis up front. You could play Curtis just off Salah and Mane, and you could have Thiago, Gini, and Hendo in the middle with Fabinho and Phillips. That could be a starting
interesting
11. You know what I mean? You could play.
Yeah.
I think Curtis could play anywhere in the front three line and in midfield. He's that good. I mean, he gives us energy. He's young. He'll have a go. And one thing about Curtis, he'll have a shot, which most of them wouldn't do the other night. I'd seen on Twitter, just shoot the fucking ball. They wouldn't hit the ball. They won't shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's confidence for you. But at least he will, because he's cocky and he's cheeky. And that's what you want on the pitch. You know, cheekiness. Someone that will take a shot, even though the manager says, don't shoot. He will. You know what I mean? So, do you know what? Bobby's been poor. Let's be real about it, guys. I know a lot of people I love Bobby Firmino. We all love him. But maybe take him out of this game. Have him on the bench as an impact sub. Someone to come on. We'd no bench against Brighton, guys. We'd a bench worse than a park bench on a wet, soggy winter's afternoon. Our bench, you wouldn't sit in this bench, boys. I'm telling you, the bench was brutal against Brighton. I just looked at it. Origi comes off the bench. It didn't fill anybody with any confidence. Even Oxlade-Chamberlain. To be honest, guys, he's done nothing since he's come back. So the bench is brutal. But at least if you had Bobby maybe on the bench, give Curtis the start. If it's not working, change it. But just you can mix it up, and you're going to mix the midfield up and leave Phillips, Fabinho there. Hendo shouting his head off, captain in the midfield. We need him, as Connor and Luke and Doug, you've all said, we need Hendo in the midfield for this game. We don't need him in centre half. Come on, guys. If we're going to win, if we've any chance of winning the game, Henderson plays midfield.
Yeah, Gundogan, Rodri and Bernardo Silva played the City against Burnley anyway. It's going to be interesting, as Dave's alluded to there, Doug, and the lads have already mentioned. I think Liverpool now, we're in a position where, why not? Flip the squad on its head, do something, try and at least something different. I know Jürgen hasn't traditionally dropped Bobby in the big games because he loves the press and from the front, but I think he looks knackered, Bobby, and the absolute shift in which he does put in, and he has done over the last 3 seasons. It looks like it's taken its toll on him from a performance-based and psychologically as well, mate. But would you bring Curtis in? Obviously, Bernardo, he has played that false nine for Manchester City this season when obviously Jesus has been injured anyway, and Aguero is currently out, but it will be a question of its mind games from Pep Guardiola. I know he has been out with injury, Aguero, but would you flip the squad on its head, Doug? Would you bring in, as the lads have mentioned, Kabak? For me personally, there's a reason why you've brought these players. Why not just start both of them, see how they do? Yes, hindsight is a wonderful thing after the game, and you're like, oh yes, it wasn't the best idea to bring them in. But for me, I'd love to see Curtis get brought in, Kabak, Davies. It would allow Liverpool to balance the whole team a lot better. If you can bring in a fully fit, obviously, Fabinho and Henderson, because I'd love to see that midfield, Doug, with Thiago, Henderson and Fabinho. It'd allow both for Henderson and Thiago to really push up the pitch and really ask questions of this Manchester City side that not many sides have done this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what Connor says. I mean, we are not in a title race right now. Mathematically, we're not. But as people say, it's not mathematically over until it's over. But one player I would not bring into the starting 11 is Divock does fuck all. Sorry, I have to say that, because the other night there against Brighton, he was shocking. Absolutely shocking. And to be fair, they started against West Ham, but he was shocking in that game as well. So yeah, I would like to see Curtis Jones. I'd like to see Curtis Jones. I think you should play 2 out and out centre backs. So I would be totally happy if we did play, Davis and Kabak, but it is a big game to bring them into. But I mean, one idea I had, and I think this might be a little bit ambitious, but would anyone play a 4-2-3-1? Now, hear me out here. Hear me out here. Wijnaldum just behind the striker. He plays that role for Holland. I think he would be good. Or switch him and Thiago, put Thiago behind the striker, then I think we're all right.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Doug's asked everyone in the comment section below, get your comments in, and ask the lads in a little second. Would be interesting, mate. I think you just got to go for it. And I think, yes, it's frustrating, and I think Origi, we can all see it, he's frustrated himself, because if you were in this Liverpool squad, you're not going to get a lot of minutes when you've got obviously Mane, Salah and Firmino in this squad. He's getting very limited, and I think if you give Divock Origi, I know everyone's screaming at the telly now, yes, he's not on the level. I think it's very difficult for anyone to put Origi on the level of Salah or Mane. He's not at that quality, and that's not by his fault of his own. Obviously, injuries have hampered his career at Liverpool. When he has got into a good run of form, he's always got injured or he's been dropped again. And it's frustrating watching this Liverpool side when Origi, I get frustrated for himself. I want him to bang 3 goals in against City. I'd love it if he banged in an hat-trick. I'd be so happy for him. But you're not going to cope. We haven't got the money in which Sheikh Mansour gives Manchester City. And I was screaming. I was hoping that Liverpool did strengthen in this transfer window. We did eventually get the centre-backs in, which we were screaming and shouting, and everyone on Twitter and everyone around the world were like, what are we doing? We need at least centre-backs. And I think you could see how frustrated Jurgen Klopp was in those press conferences prior to us bringing in the likes of Kabak and Davis. He was signalling to the owners in America, back me, or I tell you, results could go even backwards that we currently do find ourselves in. Get to all your comments as well. Really do appreciate every single one of you for dropping a like on the video, getting involved in the live stream. Absolute legends. Get to Jegsters. I think some Liverpool fans have forgotten how our team was before FSG, and Klopp is like our fans. He's become self-centered and glory. Hutton fans are not real fans. Yeah, it's like City get it, Man United get it. There's a whole host of, when you're on top, a variety of fans do come in anyway. But the amazing Liverpool fans, like every single one of you who's watching and everyone around the world, it's only a small minority for all fans. For Manchester United, City, it's a small minority. That's the thing. The small minority sounds like it's you get a bigger platform because they're saying absolutely mad stuff anyway. But thank you, Jegster. We all know how far this Liverpool side has come, mate. But Jesus isn't that great for me. He's just rated highly because he plays for City. Yeah, I think City fans will be agreeing with you. I don't think he's hit the levels in which City fans have expected. But it'd be interesting to see if these continue with him in the next coming years. Obviously, City, if they go for a likes of Mbappe, Messi even, or Haaland, they have got the funds to really reinforce up front anyway. FSG, a lot of FSG talk. I'm not going to be talking about that. It's the pre-match build-up show. We will, in the future, most definitely talk about, obviously, the financing of the football club, because I know that everyone loves a good talking about that anyway. He only really scored when City were 3-0 up, apart from against Madrid. He hasn't performed, but I think you're discussing about Gabriel Jesus. I don't think Klopp is getting the funds he wants, Mark. I'd fully agree with you. I think everyone on the panel would tonight. I think in an ideal world, Jurgen Klopp in the summer, I think we will see a big reshuffle, because you just have to, as Dave and the lads have mentioned, you only have to look at that bench. I think Jurgen Klopp himself, he won't publicly say it, but in-house he will be saying this squad needs at least a freshening up. Obviously, whether that's the forward line, the back line, it's the Liverpool team just looks very fatigued, and we haven't got a plan B or a plan B or a plan C, really. And I think that's what's stopped this Liverpool team from progressing this season, really. All the big teams around Europe, the Real Madrids, Barca's, Liverpool's as well, Cities, when they've been on top. United, we've seen, grew up watching a Fergie tinker with his Manchester United squad year in, year out. He wanted Van Persie. He knew if he got that player, it would help Manchester United win a title. And what does he do? What does it do anyway? If we beat City, title race is back on. Jasmine, thank you very much, mate. Absolutely legends. I think you're a new subscriber anyway. Really do appreciate dropping in the comment section below. This season, lads, isn't it? It's a crazy, crazy old season this season. If anything can happen, and we've seen in the Premier League, City, if they get plagued with injuries, you never know. Never rule anything out in this Premier League, Barclays Premier League anyway. But I think the consensus on the panel, if Liverpool do get beat or we win, I think it'd be a great plus. It's amazing to see Liverpool win games, but I think it's a stretch. And Luke, if it wasn't a Man City, if it was like a City, a Spurs or a Chelsea, given their previous record, mate, but Liverpool now, it's this 3 seasons in which we've had against City. These games used to mean not a lot, but this season I think it's a bridge too far, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think in previous years against Man City, we've always had. I mean, I'm always confident, against any big team we come up against, a City, Spurs, Chelsea at home. We know that it's not going to be, one of them sort of teams that are going to sit behind and park the bus, as they say, and just hit on the counter. We've struggled. I mean, I think I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's like 4 or 5 points we picked up against the bottom 6. I mean, but when you play against, the top 6, it's totally different. Like Liverpool are just the teams that, all the top 6 fear to play against away from home, especially. It's strange, like, not having, I've not seen Liverpool lose 3 games at home for a long, long time in a row. And I mean, I'm still, every game that Liverpool play, I've always still got confidence we can get a result, especially against Man City with recent form. I think the last time they won at Anfield was in 2003. And I mean, all, sort of form, like history aside, Champions League, we've outperformed them at home. Premier League games, we've obviously done well. For me at the moment, it's just, I just think Jurgen Klopp needs to be able to take a different risk for this game. I've seen obviously some comments in the sections, is the title race back on? For me, I just think the most important thing right now is to get the 3 points and try and get that winning mentality back, because that was a massive setback against Brighton. I've said to a few other people as well, we'll beat Spurs, we'll beat West Ham, but we'll lose to Brighton. It's because that mentality against the small teams is really, really affecting Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, very strange. I mean, I don't know what else I can sort of say on that. I think just go in there, try and get the result, try and get the 3 points. And yeah, just hopefully we can play big teams every week, because we know what Liverpool are like against the big teams.
If some owners anyway believed in this Super League, I think every single one would be joining. If we had a league of Barca's and the Real Madrid, I think we'd absolutely walk that.
At least we'll get the best out of Divock Origi if we play against the big teams.
We just need it to be the 90th minute, and we need to be like on the edge of getting knocked out of the competition for them to score anyway. That's when prime Divock arises anyway. But spot on there, Luke, mate. Just get some of your comments as well. Jeg said, can't see us winning the league, but it's still the biggest cup in the World Champions League. Yeah, Jeg said, I think we'll find out off the back of Sunday. I think if City do get the result, I think priorities will all shift. And I think they already have in-house, if you just listen to all the players' interviews and what they've all done. Lads, Connor, do you reckon, obviously you've seen Andy Robbo's post-match anyway after the Brighton game. You can see he's absolutely fuming, and obviously the standards in which this Liverpool side have set. But would you agree with Jegs that I think the priority does need to now to get shifted?
Yeah, well, like you said, I think it already has. In many ways, I think especially after Sunday's result, whatever happens, if we win, there'll be that small glimmer of hope. That City could have a nightmare couple of weeks, but as we know, they've had a fantastic run of late. But yeah, it is there at the minute, isn't it? We're gonna, I think, just shift all our focus on the Champions League, and try and get that back, of course. But it all depends on of course the live sync, what's happening with our first leg, because it could be 2 games played in England. We could end up getting a 3-0 advantage. That's a whole drama in itself. Anyway, but the thing for me for this game is I want a proper performance like we had against Tottenham. I want a solid enough performance. If the result doesn't go our way, then fair enough. But I want kind of like the game at the Etihad, like what was it, 2 years ago, where we just lost 2-1. but it was like probably the best ever, defeat we probably ever had.
End to end, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I want a game like that, but I just want there to be just the effort there, because especially against Brighton, it just seemed like the players were like, "Oh, well, just we're done after like 70 minutes."
It was. Do you reckon, lads? Ask Dave in a sec. But Conor, do you reckon the minds? I think we all knew. First 10 minutes in, he was like, "They're already thinking about the City game." Like you could see 10 minutes in, you're like, "What are you doing?" Like, and that's very rare that we've seen that, isn't it? Because the last 2-3 years, you haven't shown that.
I don't think we've seen that. Like I said it on my channel. I think this is the first time since probably 17, 18, when we were going to that road on Kiev, like when we were like, facing teams like West Brom, winning 2-0 and then, drawing 2-2, and then just like little dips of performances like that. But this is worse, like, because now we're losing games, and we're losing games by not even scoring goals. Like I think, like Luke said, he can't remember the last time that I think Liverpool lost 2 home games in a row. I think it was 2012 was the last time we lost 2 home games in a row, which was what, Kenny Dalglish's days. It's just I want a proper performance, and like I think if we have that, I think Liverpool then, if we get the result as well, it'll massively boost the players. Just from the pits of like everything, but it does depend, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we've seen how much a psychological point of view results can have on football teams, and like we've seen, Dave, last season Manchester City got rattled big time by Liverpool in terms of on the field and obviously psychologically. That's what Jurgen Klopp, and as we've already alluded to at the top of the show from all of you, psychological mind games do help. But I think Jurgen's going to be backing his players, but I think that's going to be a big aspect, isn't it? How Liverpool react. The City game is not going to be the big talking point. I think obviously the fixtures that we have got, this is going to be a big fixture pile up. And like for Man City, we've seen their fixtures anyway. They've got big games, but this is now where the questions are getting asked for the support team, aren't they, Dave? Oh, yeah. Have you got your mic on mute, Dave? Hello?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, we can hear. I think it might be a bit of lag.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear
you. No. I'm after freezing. I think I'm after freezing on you.
Yeah. Hello. We'll go to Doug.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Even if I'm frozen, it doesn't matter. Let it
Yeah.
go. Let it go. Okay. So here's the thing. Just quickly before I go, Jack, I think the most important thing for Liverpool is a performance, as Connor said. If we can get a performance, no matter what the result is, and bring it into the Champions League games, get a few wins, get into the top 4 for next year, good run in the Champions League, win it, it's a bonus, of course. But it's all about performance on Sunday, I think. That wasn't a performance against Brighton. We need a performance against City on Sunday. And
Is it Dave cutting out, or is it just me? Is it Dave's connection? Sorry, Dave, we lost you. Hang on. Hello? Right. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, we'll go on to Doug. Doug, starting 11, mate. Just to conclude, I'll come back to Dave anyway. Doug, you're starting 11, mate, and obviously we'll start 11 and prediction, then we'll go to Luke and then Connor and back to Dave if he's back again. But sorry about that, Dave. I think your mic's just cut off. But Doug, you're starting 11 for the City game.
Alisson, Trent, Fabinho, Kabak, Robertson, Henderson, Thiago, Mane, Wijnaldum, Salah, Firmino.
Spot on. Luke, would you go something similar? I think they might be all the same, all these.
Yeah, Alisson in goal if he's back fit. I mean, was he unwell, wasn't he, for the last few days? But I'm pretty sure he'll play. Trent, and Robertson at fullback. Yeah, I'd go Fabinho and Kabak at centre back. Midfield 3, I would go with Henderson, Wijnaldum, and I'd like to see Curtis Jones. I'd like to see him in front of Wijnaldum in this game. And I think James Milner's been superb the last sort of 2-3 games, but for a 36-year-old man, I don't think he's going to want to play again for any time soon. And the normal front 3, Mane, Salah, and Bobby.
Yeah. Spot on that. Connor, is it?
It's going to be a clean house, isn't it? Really. Ali, Trent, Kabak, Fabinho, Robbo, Hendo, like we said, gotta be there. Gini, Thiago, and then the front 3, Bobby, Mo, and Sadio.
Yeah, spot on there, boys. Quick fire, Luke. Score prediction. I know everyone hates doing score predictions, but what would you go with in an ideal world?
Oh. I'm going to be so annoyed because I think we're going to win this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, spot on that. Connor?
I'm going to go same. I'm going to go 2-1. I think it's going to be a very, very close game, and I swear to God, I hope we win. Please.
Yeah. Doug, is it another clean out of a 2-1? Are you going to go with 2-1 or?
No, I'm sorry. Sorry, lads. I'm going to be a bit conservative. I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1. I was hoping for a bit more of goals, but I go with a 2-2 Reds. Make sure you do get your comments and your score predictions and start 11. I will quickly drop them in before we do go live. But yeah, spot on there, lads. Get to all your comments as well before we do shoot off. I really do appreciate Luke, Connor, Doug, and Dave as well joining us. Sorry, I think we kind of lost Dave, but if you're watching, mate, thank you very much for dropping in. Absolute legends. We'll get to the last couple of comments as well. But yeah, Mitchell, there is less than 10 players in the world on the levels of Salah and Mane. Spot on there. No more scapegoating, really getting a joke now. Mitchell, spot on there, mate, in terms of, yeah, there's not many players that you can replace Salah and Mane, really. But in terms of the summer, as we've already alluded to in the episode, mate, I think there will be a big, massive rebuild, Mitchell, in the summer. Whether that's if Jürgen does go to the forward line. Obviously, the introduction of Jota was at the start of him potentially breaking up the famous 3 up front anyway. But spot on there, Mitchell. If we have Fabinho back in our defence, Tom back in our defence, along with Kabak, Henderson, Gini, Thiago, Milne in the midfield, our usual front 3, we fear no one. Yeah, Tom, absolutely spot on there, mate. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed Hendo will play in midfield and Kabak at the back. I think there's a lot of people going with that. This from Tom. You've been crying out for centre backs now. You have to play them, regardless if it's City, because there's no easy game in the Premier League. Spot on there, Tom. And in an ideal world, that's what I'd say to Jürgen, but you never know. It depends. He's got to protect his players. But for me, I'd go ballsy and play Davies and play Kabak anyway. I know Nat Phillips. He's played so well, but I think it'd be hard to drop him. But I think if it an idea, we'd probably go with Nat Phillips and possibly a Kabak and see if Davis anyway. Davis would give you a lot more balance in that defence, him being left-footed anyway, and obviously playing Fabinho. But yeah, nice one for your comment, mate. Don't like being the guy, but 2-1 to City. Jegster, we're all realists on this on the channel anyway, and obviously, but yeah, it's absolutely smashed them. I hope we absolutely demolished them, as the lads have said. I tell you, I'd absolutely love it if we beat them, as man used to say anyway. Until our front 3 show up, it'd be the same old story. But yeah, I had the season, horrible injuries. Tom, yeah, it's City had them, and I think last season, and I think they addressed it in the summer, didn't they? They went out and went and got 2 very good centre backs in Aki and obviously Diaz. I think Diaz has transformed that Manchester City back line. And I think we will see Laporte play left back, which will be a bit weird, but he has played there when he was at Bilbao anyway in Spain, so he's fully capable. And I think he played left back against Burnley, was it? But as always, Burnley love to open up when they play Man City, apart from when they play against us anyway. But yeah, lads, it's been an absolute pleasure. Luke, just all your socials so everyone can hit you up, mate.
So yeah, again, Jack, thanks for letting me come onto the show. We obviously, as you can see on my screen, our podcast is called the 1892 Reds Podcast. We're also on Twitter, we're also on Instagram, but obviously on YouTube. So please like and subscribe to our channel. We will be doing our previews tomorrow night with Doug on the show tomorrow night, which is going to be, obviously, we're really looking forward to that, me and Ricky. And yeah, give us a subscribe, give us a like on the videos.
Yeah, absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. As I said, it's always great to get as many. And is anyone watching now? If you want to get involved, you don't have to have a channel. Try and get these new style of videos. Try and get a lot more people on anyway. But if you would like to come on and just hit us up on social media, hit me, Luke, or whatnot. Anyway, just drop us a message. Messages are always open anyway. Doug, socials, mate, so everyone can hit you up. And is it just down there?
That's true. That's this way, isn't it? The Doug Football Channel, YouTube channel. I'm on Twitter, @node_1992. I'm on Instagram at Douglas.Horn, and I'm on Facebook at Douglas James Horn. But no, thank you very much for having me, Jack. And yeah, fingers crossed that we actually get one over them, hopefully.
Yeah, pleasure, mate. Get yours all on. Connor, to close us out, all your socials, mate. Thank you for coming on as well, mate.
Yeah, simple. The Cop Council on everything. And yeah, I want to absolutely batter these, but it's like I said, if we can dent, their armor just a little bit, and just wind all the City fans or the fake fans on Twitter, then it'll be nice come Sunday night anyway.
They fans anyway.
Yeah. No, it's been an absolute pleasure, lads. And Dave as well. Dave LFC Chats, everyone. If you're not aware of his channel, go and head over there. I think it's Dave LFC Chats on Twitter anyway. But Dave, thank you if you're still watching, and every single one of you that has watched up until this point, and everyone that continues to support, not just mine, but Connor's, Luke's, and Doug's, and everyone's channels. And I really do appreciate it. Keep safe and well, Reds, and fingers crossed the Reds can get all 3 points, regardless of the previous results in which we've had. I think it's the big games. Liverpool always do step up. But lads, thank you for coming on, and everyone watching. Absolute legends. Keep safe and well, Reds, and we'll see you tomorrow for another episode. You'll never walk alone. Cheers.